What's up? Brandon Lilly here. Today I'm going to be answering another question from Instagram, and the question that I'm going to be touching on today is about getting past the plateau. So many lifters, every single lifter has hit a plateau no matter how great you are. I mean, Andre Milanichev, for example, Eric Lillibridge, Dan Green, everybody faces these problems. So sometimes you have to bowl through it. You have to be just straightforward and just keep pushing and grinding. Other times you have to take a step back and systematically work around the problem. Number one thing I tell everyone, be honest and evaluate your form. If your form is off, if your technique is sloppy, if you're doing the lift incorrectly, there's no way that you're going to continue to progress. And sometimes one I tell people to look at is, what did your last PR look like? You've probably heard me say this before, but if you, let's say for the squat, if you hit a 400-pound squat and it's with sloppy form, it's maybe a little bit high, you leaned over and your hips all shifted, how do you ever expect to hit 405 with proper form if the 405 looked like shit? So I only tell people, reward lifts that look like they would pass on the platform or that look like they should look. You know, you want paramount form on PR attempts. If you look at, Andre Milanichev, when he squatted his biggest squat, Eric Lillibridge just squatted 1,030. Dan Green, when he squats his lifts or pulls a big pull, he just pulled 881. All those things are done with textbook form. Perfect examples of what a lift should look like. And I think that's what lifters misunderstand. For so long, people have been sold on the idea that when you get near 100%, the lift should break down. That's absolutely false. If you look at any other sport at the highest level of achievement, and even in our sport at the highest level of achievement, I just gave you some examples, form is the best it will ever be. Imagine Usain Bolt on the 100-meter blocks. If he comes out of the blocks and his elbows are flying high, he's kicking sideways or something like that, he is not going to run a perfectly efficient 100 meters. He has to be in exact precision of motion to do it as effectively and as fast as possible. Same thing for like a swimmer, Michael Phelps. If he's side stroking his freestyle or he's swinging his arm out really wide, it becomes inefficiency of movement. The same thing for a squat, bench, or deadlift. The more out of line that you allow yourself to be in, the harder the lift is going to be. Dedicate to your form. That is number one. Number two, I give this example to people all the time. I use it with my athletes. One of the things that you have to think about, you have to walk before you can run. So if you're trying to go maximum all the time, and that happens because I remember there was a time when I was stuck on the deadlift. 725 was my PR for 2 years and 4 months. And the reason being is it seemed like every workout or every other workout, I went in to attack that number. I wanted to beat that number so badly that I got in the habit where I was testing, not building. So what I had to do for about 4 months, when I finally, kind of had the light bulb go off, for about 4 months, I just said, I need to, one, clean up my form, and two, just get better overall, get stronger overall and faster. So what I did was I kept the majority of my lifts between 500 and 600 pounds, developed rep PRs in those ranges of weight, as well as speed PRs. I was performing a certain amount of reps in a certain amount of time, telling me that I was moving the bar more efficiently. So when I went back to the 725, and actually the attempt I took was 735, I pulled it very easily because it was no longer this big block or this big hurdle in my mind that I couldn't overcome, because I looked back and I knew that the training I had done prepared me to pull that lift. And one of the more popular pictures that floats around to me on the internet is the one where I'm stepping over the deadlift bar and I'm screaming. Same example. That was 765 or 775 at Lexington, and it was one of those things. I hadn't pulled heavy in a long time, but I'd been doing the work. I'd been diligent about pulling around 700 pounds or less, just getting better at the reps, getting better at the tempo, getting my form dialed in. And I told Danny Day, and I actually told Chuck the day before, I said, guys, I'm going to pull 775 tomorrow. And, as all teammates do, or my teammates do, They just, oh, bullshit, you ain't pulled heavy in a while, blah, blah, blah. But when it came down to it and the weight was on the bar, all those guys were encouraging me, and I believed in myself because I'd done the work. So if you're struggling with a plateau, whatever it is, take a step back, look at your form. Make sure your form looks the way the lift should look, number one. And number two, make sure you're doing the rep work and the tempo speed work to allow you to progress that lift in the future. If you're not getting faster on your lifts, how are you ever going to lift more weight more quickly? Thanks a lot for asking the question. I'll get some more later. Talk to you guys soon.